Hey folks, how's it going? RedMaster here, and welcome back to another episode of Cards and Castles TV commentary. Now, before we begin this video, just gotta mention, I am floored away by what I have seen in the ladder. I am genuinely floored by one of our matches here today, and we'll get to it when we get to it. So buckle in, have a seat, grab a stack, take a drink, whatever you gotta do, get comfortable, relax, and it's time to enjoy some Cards and Castles. Let's get forward and start things off with match number 1. All right, and game number 1 is now underway. We've got Striker taking on jayknight here in a bit of yellow, white, or Crusader Druid action versus Viking Crusader. So we'll see what both players are going to be delivering to the table. Right now, Jay seems to be running the Faithful Drake here, which is going to be responded to by the Questing Knight. Not sure if Jay is just running Drake because Drake is just a generically good 2-drop, or if there's something with the dragons being cooked up here. But there's cultists, so maybe not. We'll see the lumberjack play here from Striker, which is a nice way to get a bit of cycle and kill off the Faithful Drake with that 3-attack Questing Knight. Following up the wolf here, getting some pressure on the board here. One could argue that this is maybe reminiscent of some sort of beast stuff, or just maybe good stuff in general out of the yellow white. We'll see Ramrus, see another wolf here. I understand this play here, trading the wolf into the guardian to thereby proc the beast buff for the remaining beasts. Kind of feels like a bit of a waste, though. You do have a very weakened knight, so you might as well just get it out of the way, and thereby keep your healthier units on the board here, which can then be used to then obviously put more pressure on your opponent, because when you start moving them up and they start dying, the wolves of course going to boost everything else, and so on and so forth. So it feels a bit weird to me that we ended up using the wolf rather than the already weakened Questing Knight, but sure, that's fine. Call to take a shot out of the wolf here to respond with another Questing Knight here. Unfortunately, both of those other 2 units are out of position to get rid of that Questing Knight, so we're using the wolf to forcibly clear that, making the rammer stronger and still refusing to move the Questing Knight for some odd reason. Into the Ajira is Jay going to go here. Okay, so some monsters being added. I didn't see what exactly Jay picked up, but Mothra is an important one. Mothra is great in this Ajira situation, meaning that the other units that Striker can play just end up using or end up buffing Mothra, excuse me. We'll see the Questing Knight move around here. Centaur, a nice pickup there to pop the cultist, and we'll see the turn pass back to Jay. Goes to the Dragon Surge, gets the Ice Drake to clear up the Centaur, not bad. The Kaijir to intercept the weaken or defend the Ice Drake, excuse me. Meanwhile, buffing the Behemoth ever so slightly. Striker, though, going to take it easy. 2 Knights of Flowers plus a Kaijir of his own, and we will see a pass turn on that. Not engaging with the Kaijir to the Questing Knight into the quest for the Holy Grail. Interesting. I mean, you don't really see this too often. Quest is one of those cards that, you know, is on paper okay, but you know, nothing too groundbreaking. So we'll see what Jay can pull off with this, but we'll see one of those Question Knights get popped by the Knight of Flowers. The Ranger coming out here, we did see a call for aid earlier in the game, so those Rangers finally going to go ahead and see some play here. The Priest doing a nice little buff as well to get everything a bit more healthier to start this kind of counter push going. We'll see Ajira pop again, yielding more cards here. Another Moth for him as well. That's going to be pretty good. Of course, there's a lot of monsters still left to be played here. We'll see Dwarf Paladin go into the Ranger. That first Moth trading in, exactly having the right amount to pop that first Ranger. And everything else kind of just moving forward here. So it's kind of an endless little conga line of dudes that Striker has to contend with, who honestly is dealing with this situation quite well. Nice heal on the Knight of Flowers from that Cleric to intercept the Questing Knight, while also keeping that body alive. Another Ranger coming out to intercept the Mothra as well. And I mean, yeah, so far it's just been a pretty standard back and forth of just good unit trading and good unit interactions from both sides. Nothing too crazy. which is good. You know, sometimes not having crazy games allows you to refine some of the basic skills that you have in this game. So we'll see another 4 chop from the Knight of Flowers, this time on the castle. A lot of other trading happening in that last turn as well here, but some nice work in the warrior, I will say, before using the warrior to push back the ranger, keeping him out of the castle, out of castle threatening position. Why is that such a complicated sentence for me to say? I'm slipping on these commentaries. I'm getting rusty on my big old speech grammar. Anyways, continuing on into the matchup here, more Kai Juniors are gonna hit the board. Quest Knight gonna follow up as well. Nothing really too threatening here. I mean, I kind of dislike. Oh, actually. Never mind. I was gonna say I like how I just like how he's kind of keeping them out of attack range of the castle, not being able to kind of make any big pushes with all of these units combined. But I mean, here's why you don't really do that against Vikings. Ragnar the Storm King, a great unit to come in and deliver some devastating chain potential here. Gonna kill off the Ranger and the Kaijir. Not enough to kill the Serpent Witch though, although I don't think that's gonna be enough to kill Ragnar. I think the Wizard's going to be able to do that, though. Yet, Wizard coming up, stepping in, popping that Ragnar. Witch going to Castle, stunning Castle, haha. And we'll rush in with Kraxus as well. Again, another setup for chain here, but I like how Striker recognized the Serpent Witch defending the spawn lane or blocking the spawn lane, so this is going to be a pretty safe play to avoid any sort of, again, further chain damage. Yenneroth, though, going to be the card that comes out of this one. Pops the Serpent Witch with that freeze. Heal coming down. Raw heal. I don't think this came from anywhere else except the deck. So raw heal, healing that castle for 4. Pretty funny, but Striker, unfortunately, not able to do anything in his position. The Bestial Rage draw is pretty dead with everything being frozen. Another search coming out here to yield an Ice Drake. Ice Drake going to go ahead and freeze off the Kraxus, which is a nice little way for the Yenneroth to kill off the Kraxus, although I maybe would have liked to see the Yenneroth kill the Wizard because he was in range, and then thereby, I mean, now we're seeing Reanimate here. We could have maybe used the Reanimate to kill off the rest of that Kraxus. I think the Ice Drake did 4. No, okay, so it probably wouldn't have been. Actually, yeah, it would have been enough. Yeah, it would have been enough to kill if we did this Reanimate play here. And only giving them the same amount of draw. So I feel like we had a missed opportunity there to kill the Wizard in the confusion. Now this thing is going to be free to kind of roam the board. Spiny and Blacksmith return. Now we're getting into the buffs of this deck here. I mean, it felt like forever, but we did find some good buffs out of the yellow-white deck. Although Blessing of the Trent is a good one. We just never had an opportunity to use it. Bestial Rage on the Wizard. Spiny going to go ahead and pop into the castle. And actually with the Blessing of the Trent here, that is going to be lethal damage for Striker. Very, very well done from Striker to see that line and go for the lethal when given the opportunity. And, I mean, was leaving the Paladin alive maybe the factor for why we lost this matchup? There's a good argument. There is a strong argument to say that without the Wizard in there, we might have avoided that lethal damage, but who knows? Who knows? Overall, congrats to Striker for taking this W, and on we go into game number 2. All right, and that game number 2 now underway as Dro 1 takes on Osiris, a Warlock Pirate versus a Pirate Viking. So much like the Crusader matchup in the last game, except this time we're meshing the Pirates as the mutual faction of choice per se, and we'll see Osiris start things off strong. He's got that turn 1 Master Thief out here, getting that ramp for a turn 2 Blacksmith. Could have gone for the hovel of the Elvish Thief, but wants to use that full treasure to its extent here. So playing the Blacksmith now is smart, getting some extra damage, right? Do some good trading as well. Banshee gonna be the card to come out of Dro here, even coining into that, yielding an Alpha Strike. Alpha Strike is dangerous. The First Strike cards not in their home faction could do some big damage if you're not careful, so we should be mindful of that. In the meantime, Elvis is going to come out, the Blacksmith being pushed down. I assume trying to set up for hovel plays. Yep, there's one hovel. We'll see the Elvis Thief pop into the Banshee, okay? That's interesting, but I guess wants that treasure for Temple? Oh, that's a dirty dark bender. And that's a lesson on why you never throw your hovel that far out. You leave yourself susceptible to the range units like dark bender that can come in from a good distance and just simply pop your hovel, which, yeah, we'll see our opponent do right there. Simply remove the spawn threat. And this actually leaves Osiris with nothing really happening in his hand here. The execution is good for dark bender, which I assume might be the play, but in the meantime, you'll see a quick pass there. And actually, the dark bender using that free turn of life, gonna go ahead and pop the temple as well. So really leaving Osiris on very, very empty. We'll see the execution come down, hits the vampire instead, recognizing that as the bigger threat here, leaving room for the dark bender to retreat himself away from any sort of additional threats. The fencer coming out, the meditation on Flame Prince, who's been cooking in the back there for a hot minute, and a pass turn. Yenneroth's going to finally hit the board, though, from that execution ramp. This is going to leave everything pretty much frozen. The dark bender now going to be able to get popped here, the fencer as well. Onslaught hitting the Yenneroth for some, I guess, draw / removal. Honestly, Dro's hand and board is looking kind of, you know, I wouldn't say basic, but maybe actually towards that direction for sure. I mean, he's got some things cooking, the global buffs, the spawner. That's just all there is right now, though. So we'll see. We'll see. Execution on Dro's side, popping the Yenneroth. Very interesting. Okay. Meanwhile, all his board is still frozen from that second Yenneroth freeze, if you will. Execution part 2 coming down from Osiris' side, this time on the Flame Prince, which makes sense. It is getting to be a bigger threat here, so we can't let that thing keep growing. Do have a fencer to deal with, though, and not a whole lot of options to do it. We could see the fencer pop into Yenneroth, though. Seems like it might be the play here, unless he has something else. Mordock and the Alpha Strike. That's dangerous. And yeah, now Banshee's gonna go ahead and clear that. Another first strike. Another free ninja spell for Dro, why don't you? And yeah, this is going to be a big issue. That's why, like I said, the first strike is dangerous out of the ninja decks. Or not. First strike out of non-ninja decks are scary because they can do some wacky things like you see there with the Mordock. Although, to be fair, Mordock plus first strike, you know, you can throw that in any kind of deck that has ninja per se and still see the same results. Anyways, Yarm coming out doing some minor damage, but not enough. Gets bolted for his troubles as well. And this game looks to be pretty much well over. Second Blacksmith going to come out here. The Armory hitting the board. The Armory could do well to kill off maybe the Rat, but we are going to use it to defend against the incoming Mordock, which again makes sense. But we do know Icon is still in Dro's hand. And there it is. Icon hitting the board here. Again, freely removing a unit, generating another free unit in the Wraith, popping that second Blacksmith, and leaving Osiris's board very open to destruction. I imagine this might be the game. Temple, Master Thief, not going to do pretty much anything. And that will be game on board. Very nicely done from Dro, recognizing the potential of Mordock First Strike. And honestly, it's a deck that, or a concept really, that I'm surprised isn't utilized more. I've caught a lot of people off guard in my time with the lunging attack Mordock combination off of the spawn, and that is something that I'm just surprised a lot of ninja decks don't do as often. The first strike is a very dangerous tool, very hard hitting, very punishing if played into. So, and I mean, while there are first strike focused decks for sure, I feel like there is some more dangers to be had in using that first strike again outside of those first strike cards, using them as tech tools rather than a win condition or a build around, if you so to speak. So, just my 2 cents though on the matter. Congrats to Dro for taking up the win again, and now we move on to our final game of the video, match number 3. Okay, so we've approached match number 3. Now, before we get into this, I just want to propose a general question to the Cards and Castles community. How did this happen? What have we driven ourselves to push ourselves to this place in our card game lifetime? Now, that may not make sense to you at this moment, but let's go ahead and get into the match and I'll show you what we mean. So, Gonna go ahead and start the game off. It's ZhiNaMan, I think, versus DragonStorm. Maybe that's supposed to be a play on something else. Now I'm reading that name out loud, but we're gonna ignore it. I'm gonna call him Man for now. Going up against DragonStorm. We'll see a Salahar soldier from Dragon's side of the board here, a 2 landing into the castle unopposed. So Dragon essentially running an Awakened deck. That. Folks, why have we allowed Raw Rat to breach CTV? I thought this was like, these are the plays that you find outside of the TV. What has happened? What has happened? Why is there a Raw Rat here? You want to explain that to me? You want to explain that to me? I don't know if y'all can. I don't know if you can you could do such a thing. Anyways, the Raw Rat draw, very peculiar. And now I guess into the Secret Dragon play from Man here. We'll see if he plays the rat. Nah, doesn't want to play the rat. We'll see. We'll see what this rat can do as Dragon takes, of course, a couple more shots onto the castle here. Using going with the Metal of Gold into the Sentry Golem. Nice little discounted there from the Masuda that he played in the last turn, excuse me. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. Blacksmith into the rat. Rat clears off the Masuda. Salahar Rider comes out. Clears off the soldier, I want to imagine. Yep, there it goes. Hitting the golem. That's not bad. Even running Blacksmith up. My man is on the next level here. My man is clearly on something that we just don't see. Dragon continuing to take shots at the castle here. Golem into Pyromancer. I think Dragon's opening himself up a little bit. He's allowing himself to get maybe too cocky here. Horseman going to go ahead, pop the Pyromancer. Salahar Rider coming in, hitting the Golem. It's going to chop down the Golem just a bit more here. Horseman going to go ahead, deliver the finishing blow. Blacksmith connects to castle. My man has no fear of losing his buff. None whatsoever. What timeline are we living in? Trap activated. There's a Secret Dragon. Dragon to go ahead, pop the Fire Drake onto the board here. Detention from Dragon to send a Drake back to hand. Although we do have enough to play said Drake this turn. Boom. There's the Fire Drake. Sending it up. Look, there it goes. There goes the Fire Drake. Not as powerful without the Secret Dragon buff, but still just as fine. Osiris to block. Dragon, I imagine, is not in a good spot here hand-wise. Fat Bard to get a lot of value here. Fat Bard gonna go, Fat Bard allowing the Drake to kill the Osiris. Moving in a Dancing Swords copy as well. Dragon's not looking in a good spot right now. Another Golem. Plus the Vanishing Strike that is going to kill off the Fire Drake, thankfully. But that, of course, forces the Golem back to hand. No defenses for his open board. And that is a big Dancing Sword's going to come in and doing some big damage. We'll see 8 chop in. If that 8 connects again, it's game. Lava Font. Lava Font as well, by the way. He's running Lava Font. Lava Font onto face here to protect a little bit as well. Masuda coming out, the Headmaster as well, discounting with the Masuda, but I don't think it matters. He is able to clear off the... Oh, right. Okay. Because the Lava Font deals damage to the... Okay, I genuinely forgot about that for a second. It's been so long since I've seen an obstacle. It's probably been about 2 years since I've seen an obstacle. That's a lie. Freezing Pillar exists. But anyways, Lava Font getting damage dealt to the castle. And Osiris taking a bit of damage as well. Another Black Widow coming out here, dealing more damage with the Flame Prince. Sacrifices, gonna go for the YOLO play, and is rewarded. Absolutely insane. The bold sacrifice play, combined with literally everything else we saw, pushed us to get that game win. And I'm floored that we're just at that point in Cards and Castles where I feel like there is a lot of potentially fresh blood entering a higher level of play here, because honestly I know some veterans have sort of like stalled out for a bit. They're biding their time, they're waiting. Some have left, and that is understandable because of the state of the game. But to see the fresh blood take some of the ideas that they have, i.e. raw rat, and show up on TV, baffling stuff. And congrats to Man for picking up the W in this matchup here with the borderline starter deck levels. I feel like this was and taking it up against what I think might have been a near fully fleshed out Awakening deck, and picking up the W. Jeez Louise. Anyways, folks, with that being said, I think I'm gonna go ahead and move the close of this video. A lot of craziness from today, so let's go ahead and send y'all home the right way. All right, folks, and with that being said, we have come to the end of another TV commentary video. Honestly, still blown away by the last match that we saw here, just how interesting the CTV ladder has become in such a short period of time, with a lot of happenings in the Cards and Castles world. It might seem like things have been quiet for a minute, but let me tell you, there are some things that are in the works now that hopefully might bring some good news once again back to the community. So I'm looking forward to sharing more about that when I can. But in the meantime, folks, hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of TV Commentary. If you did, be sure to let me know your thoughts on the match by leaving them down in the comments section below. And if you're down there, haven't done so already, be sure to like the video, share with your friends, of course, subscribe if you're new or haven't done so, to support the channel and help us grow here on YouTube at no additional cost to you. And yes, folks, with that being said, that is going to be it for me for now. So until next time, stay gaming.